I need to know by a show of hands, and I'm not asking for an average photo or a medium photo. I'm asking who in this place has had a terrible school photo on picture day? Come on, can I get some hands? Please, please, please. Okay. So of those hands that are raised, can I ask you this question? If I were to somehow have found those pictures and posted them up here, who would sprint out of this place? They'd be so embarrassed. Okay. Sorry. Well, the good news is I didn't. Can you imagine if I did? That would be the weirdest thing in the history of the world. But I do have pictures of myself from school. So just promise me that you won't blackmail me and take pictures of these pictures and make me lose all my friends. Promise? Okay. So we're going to start with a not so bad. This is kindergarten Mike. Come on, guys. Let's see kindergarten Mike up here. Wow. Look at that comb over. Wow. My ears are huge, but other than that, wow. That's great. I kind of look cross-eyed, which is fine. Okay. Anyway, so let me just give you this story, okay? So my grandparents, every single year, they used to give me and my brother these little polo shirts that we needed to wear, and they had these cool logo. I don't know why, they just would. And so I never would wear them. But my parents would always say, okay, you don't have to wear them, but on picture day, just wear it so that it looks like you wear it. Can anyone relate, or is that, maybe my parents are just weird? Okay, so my mom puts this jacket on me, and she says, all right, so when you get to school, take the jacket off, take your picture, da-da-da-da. So I get to school with this jacket on, and I'm walking into school, and I'm sweating bullets in this jacket. I'm walking, and I'm like, oh my God. And so the lady's like, it's your time for your picture, so I'm like, okay. And so there I am. Yeah, sweet. I get home and my face is beet red, because I've been wearing this sweaty jacket all day. My mom's like, did you take that jacket off? And I'm like, no, but can I now? Actually, let me start over. Mike, did you take that jacket off? No, but can I now? Because that's probably how kindergarten Mike sounded. Ha ha ha. Okay. So that's what I did, and regardless of all of that, my mom loved me, cared for me, and then the next year I just rocked the same shirt and just took the jacket off, and then I was able to make grandparents happy. So some moment between kindergarten Mike and 8th grade Mike, there were some choices made by me. I decided that 8th grade Mike should take a ghetto turn. So you know what? Let's just take a look at 8th grade Mike. Do your chain hang low? The answer is yes, okay? I'm rocking an Abercrombie tee, some Buffalo Bills colored braces. I saw that picture, Mila. You better delete that. And a chain, okay? So picture this. The same cute little boy with a jacket that was like, Mom, is now some ghetto fabulous stupid white kid who's trying to take his picture, right? So this is me, yet in all of this, in all of my pictures and in all of the stuff that I went through and all that stuff, my mom was still my mom. My mom still loved me and cared for me and provided for me, and every single day, regardless of what I looked like, she put breakfast on the table and was always there to support me. And so as we talk about this story of Mary, and as we talk about Mary's faith when it comes to the life of Jesus, I want you guys to realize that she was a mom. That just like my mom was there to support me, Mary was there to support him. I know last week we talked about Joseph's faith with, can you imagine when baby Jesus was born, did he know that he was God? Right? And so many of us said, no, he didn't know. Can you imagine when Jesus was 3, Mary going to feed him the Gerber snacks, and he's like, yo, don't give me that Gerber, I need some steak because I'm the son of God. Everyone would be like, who is that baby? You know what I mean? Because he was a baby. Just like every other baby, that is exactly what he was. So where we're going to pick off is where we left off there when Jesus performs his first miracle. So as Mary's walking through this town and getting all this ridicule, she finally sees this glimpse of the Son of God when he performs his first miracle. So if you guys can turn to this verse, whether in your Bibles or your smartphones or whatever, John 2, verse 3 through 9, it says this. It says, when the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, they have no more wine. "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied. "My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water," so they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. So the guy that drank the wine, he didn't know where the wine came from, but his servants did, because they had seen what Jesus had done. Now let me ask you guys, just by a show of hands, who was at a live summer camp this past summer? Okay, already know. Bringing out the 8th grade mic, come on. Okay. So in between kindergarten Mike and 8th grade Mike, there was this summer camp that I was invited to go to, or my parents just kind of made me go to. But anyway, there was a summer camp that I went to, and there was a talent show at this summer camp. I had a friend at this camp named Robbie Russell. Can you say Robbie Russell 3 times fast? The answer is no. Okay. So there was this guy named Robbie Russell, and I looked over at Robbie and I said, "Dude, we are going to do a dance at this talent show, and we are going to kill it." Word. That's right. So Robbie's like, "All right, man, whatever you say, whatever." There was a popular show at the time called Friends, and it had this theme song, "I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour," whatever. But it sounded much better than that. So that was the theme song, okay? And so I turned to Robbie, I said, "Dude, we are going to do a dance to this song." And so we went home, and there I was in my family room. My mom was sitting down. She was coaching us. She was like prepping us for the big performance, And so here me and Robbie were like pulling out all these moves. And for those of you guys that don't know me or do know me, my dancing is terrible, but I always have to throw in like a heartbeat. So I made sure to get that in there. But the most important part was the finale. Okay, you know when you go to like see fireworks on the 4th of July, there's a finale? Same with the Mike Thomas, Robbie Russell dance show, okay? Finale. So here we are, dancing all these moves, and then I'm like, "All right, here we go, Robbie. We need to look at each other, then we need to look back at the people, we need to jump in the air and spin and point, and then everyone's going to go, bah, bah." Well, I mean, you guys can actually cheer, but I was just, great. Okay, so that is the dream, okay? So the next day happens, we go to the talent show, and here I am, like kind of nervous, and all of a sudden the announcer's like, "Mike Thomas and Robbie Russell to the stage." And I'm like, it's game time. So we go up. I feel like I'm in like Madison Square Garden, but I'm in like some 100-person room. Anyway, I stand there. I put my head down as if there's like epic lights like above me. And then all of a sudden the music starts to play. And then I look up and I freeze. And so here I am just standing here, and I look over at Robbie like to see how he's doing, and he just looks at me and he's like basically like, "Help." So I'm looking at him, and then I look back, and I'm just standing here. And so just imagine for a minute, like if you guys were the audience watching someone that's just like, "I'll be there for," like that's awkward. So here I am just like standing here, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, when is this ever gonna end?" And I start looking through the crowd, and then I see my mom, and she's like, I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is terrible." But looking at my mom's eyes, I looked at her right in the eyes, and I could tell that without saying words, without doing anything else, she looked at me and she believed that I could do it. That she had seen me practice this thing. She had seen me do this before. She knew that I could do this thing. So she was like 20 seconds too late for this little bit of encouragement. But I knew that I still had the finale to do. That's right, people. So even though I did nothing for the first 20 seconds, I decided that it was time for the finale. So I look over at Robbie, look back at the crowd, jump up, point, and then everyone's like, yeah. But it was fine because I got, the applause. But it was in that moment when I realized that my mom, just even by just her look at me, I knew that she believed in me. So watch this. We're going to read through just the first little part of that verse and watch how similar this is with Jesus. In John 2, verse 3, it says, "When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, 'They have no more wine.'" So can you imagine this for a minute? Jesus is the son of who? He is the son of God, and he is throwing a party. And Mary has the nerve to ask the dude who's throwing a party, who is the son of God, if we can get some more drink. right? So Mary goes up and she's like, hey, Jesus, they're out of wine. Can you get some more wine? Jesus responds with this. He says, woman, why do you involve me? He says, my hour has not yet come. Mary goes back to in verse 5 and says to the servants, do whatever he tells you. Now at this point, how many miracles has Jesus performed? Come on, say it out. Zero. Yet Mary believed that he could. He's performed 0 miracles. But when Mary went up to him and said, Jesus, they need more wine, she was looking him in the eyes just as my mom did and said, I believe in you. Even though you have yet to perform a miracle, I believe that you can. In that moment, she had faith. In that moment, she believed that he could do something based on what God had impressed upon her, based on what God showed her that he could do. But then, as Jesus' life continued, Jesus went to perform crazy miracles and rose dead people to life and healed blind eyes and did all of these incredible things. But then there was this moment when Jesus had to die on a cross. Can you imagine Jesus carrying this cross through the town? Can you imagine Jesus, once they hung him on the cross and they set it in the ground and he was standing there and hanging for the sins of the world, can you imagine his mom in that moment making eye contact with her son, just looking at him and being like, my baby boy, can you please come down from that cross? That even us, we get emotional thinking about the pain that Jesus went through, but can you imagine being the mom of your son who's hanging on a cross and she is looking at him wondering what in the world is going on? That he is supposed to be the Savior of the world, yet he can't even save himself. And so there he is, hanging on a cross. And in an instant, the Savior of the world dies. In that moment, there's no angels that come down and say, hey, don't worry, like he's going to raise in a few days. No. In that moment, he is gone. And as he's gone, Jesus doesn't comfort her. Jesus isn't there for her. But where is her faith now? So here's the point in the message where all of you guys can say, okay, I get this. You know, I learned from this. It's amazing. You know, even when Jesus didn't perform a miracle, Mary knew that he could. And even when times were hard, Mary still was able to find faith. And that's all good if that's what you take. But I want to challenge you guys. What happens when life gets real? What happens when we stop just talking about like what stories from the past, but we start to actually apply it to when things get real? This past Friday, you guys, I'm sure, heard the story. There was a man in Connecticut, 20 years old. He decided one day on Friday, that he was going to walk to his mom's house. He was going to look her in the eyes, and he was going to take her life. Despite previous reports saying that the mom was connected with this elementary school, there was no connection. And this man left from this school, and he walked all the way he drove his mom's car to an elementary school. He walked into the school, and he took the life of the principal and like 5 other teachers. After that, he walked into a kindergarten classroom with 6- and 7-year-old kids. And reports say that every one of them had multiple gunshot wounds, and every one died. There's parents showing up in their cars and getting out and just waiting for their kids to come out. There's all these families rejoicing because their kids have made it out safe, and more families are being able to leave because their kids are coming. But then there are those moms that are standing there waiting for their daughter who's 6 years old to come out of the house, or come out of the school, and she's just waiting there and standing there, and her daughter never comes. Where is her faith now? Where is our faith now? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a moment as the church to respond. If you're taking notes, I need you to write this down. And I need you to be here next week. This is what you need to write. There is no resurrection if there is no death. There is no resurrection if there is no death. God is calling us to be the resurrected power and love and hope and care. He is calling us to do that. There's a slide that's going to be on the screen that has the names and the ages of these kids. I want to challenge you guys. We're gonna sing through a song. But I want to challenge you to pick one of these names and begin to pray and worship and believe on behalf of these families. So I'm going to ask the team to come up as I pray. But please find a name as I pray. Jesus, I just want to lift you up. God, I ask you that in this next moment, God, that you will allow us to be real. That you will allow us not just to think about a good message, not just to think about what we're doing after church, but God, allow us to respond. God, I pray that we will provide the resurrection, power and love and hope and care. God, that you will begin to speak to the hearts of the families even now from Rochester, New York.